As a child, my mum got so fed up with me wandering off, she made me wear a bell around my neck whenever we went shopping.
Wow. Leasing.
Was she a cow?
I'm not sure that Miles's mother being a cow would explain it, because I don't think it's the cow's own policy to wear the bells.
So, first of all, how bad were you at wandering off? Was this a regular thing?
I wouldn't stay still. Any sort of open space I would see as a thing to run towards rather than...
So what shopping centres were you going to that was such wide spaces to run in?
I suppose Brent Cross Shopping Centre would have been our regular haunt. But
OK.
What age was this?
I would have been about probably 4 to the age of 7.
And when you were in infant school, every time you went out to the playground, did everyone think it was playtime over and straight back in again?
It was only done on family outings.
Only done on shopping days.
Shopping
OK.
days.
And is it a traditional bell with the little thing inside that clanks
what does
against
it look like?
Like a sort of cat's bell, essentially.
But hang on, there's one massive problem here. A cat is on all fours and the bell dangles. The bell is going to be touching your body and it won't dangle. Discuss.
Well, she attached it to a part of me that dangled.
What was the furthest you ever got? What were you searching for?
I hope it wasn't sparrows, because you'd never get them.
So in Brent Cross terms, I once got from John Lewis to Phoenix.
That's very nice. Miles, could I ask you to tell me how big the bell was, but accurately?
I suppose 3/4 of the size of a ping-pong ball.
Hang on.
And was it a sphere or bell-shaped?
Any bell, by definition, is bell-shaped.
What do you think, Sarah?
It sounds a bit draconian. You know, a bell round your child's neck.
Yeah, I think it would be a terrible failing of parenting, so not for me.
It's just not a system that works. If
No.
you've drifted into a Morris dance area, then you're going to have a panic attack.
Yeah.
That's what you'd have in the horror film version of your life, where you run off and then your mother's desperately looking for you, and then suddenly she sees a load of Morris dancers and it totally confuses
Lots
the
of
system.
close-ups
It'd be
of grinning Morris
horrifying
dancers.
moment. Oh, the Morris dancers, I can't hear Miles' little tinkling bell.
Well, you could be describing any Saturday of my childhood.
So what are you going to say, Lee?
We're not having it.
They're not having
We're
it.
not having
They're
this.
saying it's a lie. Miles, were you telling the truth or were you telling a lie?
That was a lie.
Yes, it's a lie. Miles' mum didn't make him wear a bell around his neck.
I was once dumped on an aeroplane.
I have just signed a publishing deal for my gritty debut crime novel, featuring the exploits of detective duo Nice and Spicy.
Is it hyphenated nice and spicy?
Oh, no, there's a duo. One is called Nice. Jeremy Nice.
Did you think there was only one of them called Nice and Spicy? Hello, I'm Detective Inspector Nice and Spicy.
Detective Inspector Nice and Spicy and his partner, who has no name at all.
It's a duo. Jeremy Nice, Ian Spicy.
So you sat down with a blank piece of paper and you came up with nice and spicy.
Well, there's a backstory, because Jeremy, when it starts, he's quite sad because the person he worked with, Mark Cheap, died.
So it used to be Nice and Cheap?
Yeah, that's right.
What sort of men are they, Miles?
Well, Jeremy is incredibly tall and Ian is incredibly short.
Right.
And that means they're one of the few people on the Air Force that are given a police car with the sunroof.
Have you written a book before?
Yeah.
What was your other book called?
Other books.
How many books have you written?
Well, this is the third. So the 2, if you want me to do all the maths for you.
What?
Presumably you do.
It's funny, isn't it? Because a lot of people with an Oxbridge education, they can come across as condescending and a little bit... And yet you somehow carry off beautifully, Miles.
This is because I don't have an Oxbridge education.
Because a lot of... Oh, you don't have an Oxbridge education? What do you have?
Just an accent.
And what's this one called again?
It's called Blood in the Water.
Oh. What's the plot of Blood in the Water?
Well, I'll tell you how it begins. I'm not
Nasty urinary tract infection.
No, I don't want to tell you too much of the plot. That's the whole point of a whodunit.
Don't worry. I'm not buying
All
it.
I'll say...
In fact, I've got a feeling nobody's buying it.
So, what do you think?
I think it's a lie, Annika. Do you think it's a lie?
I think it's a lie, personally.
You think it's a lie?
Yeah.
Liz?
I think it's a lie.
I'll say a lie.
Right, Miles, it sounded lovely. Was it true or was it a lie?
It is, in fact, a lie.
Yes, it's a lie. Miles hasn't written a novel about the detective duo Nice and Spicy.
Whilst on holiday in South Africa, I had a 2-minute conversation with what I thought was my wife, only to discover that a small hippo had wandered into the bedroom.
David's team. What do you make of that?
Miles, describe your wife to us.
Tall, slender, statuesque.
So did the hippo had a very similar voice to your wife?
The hippo was just sort of moving gently around.
They're known for that.
Not in a especially close proximity.
What was the conversation about, and how did you go 2 minutes?
I'll tell you what the conversation was about. It was about me, and I was doing most of the talking, which obviously contributed to my
So
confusion.
where, in fact, was your wife?
I don't know where she was. She was just not...
Have you ever seen your wife again?
So, where were you? I'm guessing that this is a safari scenario, am I right?
It was sort of on the outskirts of Cape Town.
Describe the nature of the structure you were in.
Right.
Is it a building? Is it on the 4th floor of a...
Did the hippo have to get in a lift?
OK, well, it's mainly bungalows. The resort is a collection of sort of bungalow buildings, largely A-frame wooden buildings with a kind of thatch roof.
Why were the doors so big a hippo could get in?
Well, it's a small hippo, isn't it?
How small is a small hippo?
Like George from Rainbow, or...?
That yay big.
So the hippo was only that big?
Yeah.
It's about the size of a Labrador.
Well, let's be clear. Is that its width or its length?
That is its width, as viewed from behind, and I suspect from the front.
This is worse. Your wife's like the back end of a hippo.
This A-frame bungalow has how many rooms in it?
It's got 2 rooms. At one end, there's a big bathroom, and then there's the rest of it is a very big open-plan bedroom, and it has sort of seating area in the middle of it, and it has a bed at the far end, a very robust bed, and...
Bed you could make love to a hippo on?
That is speculation, but I wouldn't bet against it.
OK, we're in the bungalow, OK?
I'm in the ensuite end.
Yes.
OK. And I'd been shaving and then, you know, shouting over my shoulder. And I realised after a while, I'm not getting a lot back here. And I turned round and I saw that I had not been moaning about my career to my wife, but to a baby hippo.
How long was this baby hippo?
Well, I only saw it from the back, but I imagine, statistically, it'd be, what, probably 3 times as long as it was wide?
OK. So broadly, so it was a sort of as long as this desk?
Nobody measures
or 2/3
animals by width.
Well, you did.
I saw a massive snake. It was this big.
So what are you going to say? Is he telling the truth?
I think based on the width, it's a lie.
I think that was a panicked reach for width.
On the basis of the panicked reach for width. I think we'll say it's a lie.
You're going to say that's a lie? OK. Miles, were you telling the truth or were you telling a lie?
It is a lie.
Yes, it's a lie. Miles didn't mistake his wife for a hippo whilst on holiday.
Whenever I'm in a situation where I don't know what to do, I ask myself the question, what would Cliff Richard do?
Please, team.
Right, give me an example. Say you don't know if you're going to go on a skiing holiday or a summer holiday. What would you do in that situation?
Well, I say to myself, what would Cliff do?
Why Cliff Richard as well?
I just think because he's someone that lives his life in a way that I believe we should all aspire to.
Am I right?
Yes, absolutely.
So tell me this: what was the last dilemma you had where the Cliff Richard thing helped?
Well, you go to Pret, and as ever, the queuing's a complete disgrace. And you think, what would Cliff Richard do? Well, I walk out.
When did you first let Cliff into your life?
In a way, I feel more like I've been let into his.
So, have you got a lot of Cliff's albums?
Yes.
Well, I think you know where this is going, Miles. Of all the albums, all of them, I just want one album. That's all I want.
Greatest Hits Volume 2.
So what do you think, Lee? Is it the truth?
What do we say to that, Amelia? Do you think there's any truth in that?
I don't think we can possibly.
Not even entertain the notion?
No.
As entertaining as the notion may be.
Yeah.
Say a lie. OK. Miles, truth or lie?
This is actually a lie. After a visit to a school fete, I had to tell my neighbour their cat had been run over, while my own face was painted like a kitten.
Lee's team.
Oh, please be true. Please. You were at the school fete as what? As a dad, or were you working on the stall doing the face painting or anything? Or were you
there was a sort of shift, so I did help with one of the stalls, but I was also there just as a parent.
What was the stall you were helping on?
Bric-a-brac.
Bric-a-brac?
Bric-a-brac.
How did you find out the cat had been killed?
Because it was killed regrettably close to our house.
What kind of cat was it?
A tabby cat.
And how was it killed, sorry?
Unfortunately, it was a truck that shouldn't have been... it was one of the not just a normal-sized lorry, a very, very long lorry that should not really have thought that it could drive around those streets, but was attempting to, and it flattened.
So you actually saw the lorry flatten the cat, and then you had to go and tell the neighbour?
Yeah.
I feel like this is the truth, except for the part about the truck and that actually you killed this cat.
What was the cat called?
She was called Jenny.
Jenny the cat. Jenny.
What was the owner called? Tiddles? In a horrible name mix-up, they started calling each other by the wrong name.
If you want to find fault with someone's cat naming logic, you've got to have a go at my neighbours.
Well, they're grieving. Let's leave them out of it.
Yeah.
Did you
kill their cat?
I didn't.
You say you didn't kill the cat. You might have been partly responsible because you were there dressed as a cat when it happened. It might have been the driver of the truck.
I wasn't dressed as a cat.
Has looked over and gone, size of that cat. Meanwhile, the little cat crossing the road has gone, is that your mummy? Those two incidents combined, you've killed little Jennifer, to give her her full name.
No, just either that or it was a hit aimed for you, and the description given looks a bit like a cat.
Did you pick the cat up and take it to the neighbours, or did you just point to the cat and say, that's where your cat is? No.
I didn't pick it up.
What happened when they answered the door? Talk us through that conversation. That must have been very awkward.
Had you still, at this point, not remembered that your face was painted like that?
No, I didn't realise until after I told them, and then I went home and went, I just had to tell so-and-so.
So they've opened the door. Can you remember anything about the first few words of that conversation?
Well, it was very awkward. I've never had to do that before. So I said...
Meow!
They said hello in a sort of cheery, maybe he's come round for some sort of jolly reason.
Well, no one gave them that impression.
And I said, I'm really sorry, but I'm afraid that I've just seen Jenny get run over.
And they said...
What?
What did they say then? Oh, sorry, you're acting.
They said what?
I thought you were asking me, sorry. I genuinely thought you didn't understand the question, but you were in character, sorry.
Yeah. If we get to a point where you're asking questions I don't understand, something has happened.
The regulars like that
one. And they said, thank you very much for telling us. And then I went back into my house, I live next door, and...
Did you go through the front door or back? When you realised you had your makeup on still at home?
My wife pointed out to me. I came home and I said, this dreadful thing's just happened. And my wife said, you know that you've still got your face painted like a kitten? And I said, oh, no.
Did you and your wife look at each other in shock and just feel terrible, or did you both instantly start laughing?
She laughed immediately.
She's an awful woman, though.
No, you're not. Ignore the Irish man.
You're the best female truck driver in the world. You're all right, Miles? You know what that is? Furballs.
So what are you thinking, Lee? Does this have the ring of truth for you?
Amelia, what do we think?
I think it's a total lie.
Do you? Not
Do you?
even an ounce of truth in this?
Not for me. It's going round to the neighbours, and you haven't really actually told us anything about the neighbours. You haven't talked about who it was who answered the door and how you then got to talk to them.
All right, well, Paul answered the door.
Paul. And Paul is married too.
Paul is not married.
Oh, but you did say them. You told them that their cat had died.
Yeah, there are a number of ways in which people cohabit.
I don't believe it.
You don't believe
I
it?
don't believe it.
You don't believe it?
Are we going to say
Say a lie.
Say it's a lie.
OK. Miles, truth or lie?
O ye of little... It's a lie.
Yes, it's a lie. Miles didn't have to tell his neighbour their cat had been run over while his face was painted like a stick.
Every morning, I eat one of those mini multi-pack cereals, but to save time and washing up, I pour the milk straight into the packet.
David's team.
One of the mini variety pack cereals.
That's right, yes.
Yeah.
Are you often in a rush of a morning? Why are you needing to save time, please?
What I don't enjoy doing is washing up, and I've taken a sort of stand. I bought a dishwasher, and my wife doesn't like dishwashers, so she insists that I wash everything up.
Wow.
What is it about dishwashers that Mrs. Jupp objects to?
Yeah.
She objects to the noise. She objects to...
Oh, they're so
they are very
noisy, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's like a pneumatic drill in the corner of the kitchen.
If you have a problem with some of my wife's opinions, you must take this up with her, Rob. She objects to the rise of the machines.
Does she think that the dishwasher represents the thin end of some kind of robotic takeover wedge?
No, robotic takeover wedge is the very phrase, David.
Yeah. Where does she stand on the Hoover?
That is not how a Hoover operates.
Miles, what are the cereals you get in those little boxes?
This is the test, isn't it?
Well, you get Frosties,
Good
Rice
stuff.
Krispies,
Nice.
Yep. Cornflakes, Crunchy Nut Cornflakes, Cocoa Pops.
3 more to go.
What's your favourite?
If you don't get this right, this last one, it'll be Cheerio to you.
That reminds me. Hula hoops. What are they? No, Cheerios. And then it's actually on a rotation, so there will be some swaps. You don't always get 8 separate.
Can we trouble you for a full mime?
Yes.
Absolutely.
You've got a little box of Cocoa Pops there.
I draw up the inner bag and I open it like this carefully.
Yeah, draw out its little underwear.
You've given away a lot there, David.
So I pour the milk into the bag and then I eat the cereal, and then when there's a little bit of milk left over, I pour that into my mouth.
Meanwhile, his wife sat in the corner weeping.
Do you find no problem of sort of sloppage between bag and inner cardboard?
Well, if I spilled something, I would get some sort of disposable material, such as kitchen roll, and wipe it up and then drop it straight into the...
You don't find that something sort of leaks down, a bit of sticky goo, in a way that would be displeasing to someone as tidy as you?
No,
This is like C-3PO talking to R2-D2.
I don't have any breakfast time seepage issues.
Well, when you've been married a while, that sort of stuff does tend to tail off. What do you think, truth or lie?
Well, what's clear is that Miles' wife is Amish. He's not accepting of her religious views.
Yeah.
And that's very, very sad. What do you think, Stephen?
I think he's thrashing about and drowning in a lye soup.
What are you thinking, Miranda?
Because it's so ridiculous, I'm veering towards the truth.
You think true?
Yeah, why not?
You think lie?
I think a lie.
I think it's a lie.
You think it's a lie? OK. Miles, were you telling the truth or were you telling a lie?
I was telling a... lie.
It was a lie. Yeah. Miles doesn't pour milk straight into cereal packets to save time.
Every time I shower, I must adhere to my strict system for drying myself.
OK, quick as you can. What's the system for drying yourself?
Well, I always use a towel.
You weird eccentric.
Well, actually, I don't start with a towel. I sort of brush water off this arm. I can do that 20 times.
With your hand?
With my hand.
Yeah.
And then 20 times that one.
Do you dry yourself between your legs with your hands?
I don't, Richard.
Is it like an OCD thing where it is 20, or is it roughly 20?
Oh, it can be multiples of 20.
You're not serious.
Yeah, so like 20 of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
We know what 20 is.
Yeah. And then the same on that. And then 30 in the hair.
30 in the hair.
And then and then I think if I'm ready to move on to the towel phase. I think I've done the arm and head thing. It's towel time.
And when did you start doing this?
In the last 2 years.
When you reach for the towel, are there any other oddities, or do you basically then proceed in what we would refer to as a conventional drying manner?
Right. I get the towel and I do 50 on the top of the head.
Right.
And then this is quite a new development, actually. Probably within the last...
The whole thing is quite a new development.
No, but this...
You clearly had some sort of breakdown a couple of years ago.
So now it's 50 on top and 50 behind, whereas it used to just be 50 on top.
What was it about your drying policy before this point,
question.
2 or 3 years ago, that you considered inadequate?
I was getting to a lot of towels.
How much moisture do you hold?
I am unbelievably absorbent. You, one could wring me out like a sponge.
Have you tried that? Because that might be a more efficient way of...
Don't see what it is about this system that is hard to believe or understand.
I don't like it.
No.
Well, no, don't do it.
If this turns out to be true, it's going to be a tense evening.
Do you or have you ever washed your car by hand rather than going through the drive-thru or something?
No, never.
No, really?
Never.
Never?
You are the most middle-class man I've ever met. You've never washed your own car?
I've been through the rolling one.
That's not the same, Miles. Getting the coin and putting it in the slot does not constitute manual labour.
I've only had a car for 3 years. Maybe that's why this started.
Yes, did the purchase of the car coincide with a new shower policy? Having seen the car go through the roly thing that for some reason you don't know the name of, even though the name pretty much creates itself.
That's right.
You sort of think, I want to create my own domestic version of this with my hands.
I don't... Yeah.
Do you have a little sign when you go into the bathroom that says, stop? Once you get... Do you edge forward, waiting? Stop. And you've got to do it quickly, because you know things are going to beep, beep, and you're going to get out again. So, David, it's time to take a guess.
What do you think?
It's truly horrible. But I want it to be true, and I'm an optimist in life, so I'll say it's true.
Yeah.
I can't go with that. I mean, if it is true, then it's really disturbing and frightening and all those other things that you scare your kids with.
My instinct is that it's a lie.
OK,
So
you're saying it's a lie. Well,
yes.
Miles, were you telling the truth, Miles, or were you telling a lie?
It is... true.
Yes. Almost unbelievably, it's true. Every time Miles showers, he must adhere to his strict system for drying himself.